violations and create hearing procedures related to such school zone speed limit violations, providing for correction, severability, conflicts, implementation, codification, and an effective date.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Manager, can we summarize this by saying this is a statutory requirement in order to install the proposed school zone speed detection systems?
Yes, sir. Aligned with the mayor's interpretation.
Could we waive the staff report?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions or comments from council? Moved by Councilwoman Bailey, seconded by Councilman Cannonball. Any public comment? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Roth? Yes. Councilman Cannonball? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Avila?
Yes, just
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
with a comment, if you don't mind.
Yes.
Sorry, thank you. One thing I did wanted to make sure, and staff did reassure me in our briefings, is that the schools would be contacted, there would be outreach, and so for anybody listening who might have that concern, that will happen. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Very good. Thank you all. All right, tab 11, Mr. Pearl.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Tab 11 is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the budget for the general fund for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2024, and ending September 30, 2025, by decreasing the total budgeted revenues and expenditures by $2,372,264, providing for severability and an effective date.
Thank you, Mr. Manager.
So this is simply a housekeeping item. During the budget process, we mentioned that there was a famous $2.4 million shortfall in the taxable revenue. So this is simply to correct the records. And in addition to that, I think there is a minor adjustment in the expected revenue stream that is coming from the tax roll. Mr. Finance Director, do you have any additional comments other than the $31,000? Council has been briefed, so simply to correct the record that the actual revenue stream coming from the tax roll is less $2.4 million, which has been less $31,000 that's going to be coming back to us.
Again, for those listening, this was a county calculation error. We heard the word shortfall a minute ago. That's probably not the best word to use. We never had it. We didn't spend it. We did not lose it. This is correcting a math error at the county level. So, do we have a motion to approve? Moved by Cannonball, and a second by Councilwoman Bailey. Any public comment? Hearing none. Anything further from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Avila? Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Roth? Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Cannonball? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. And moving on, second reading on tab 12, Mr. Pearl.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, tab 12 is the second reading of an ordinance of the
Registered ahead of time. Is there anyone here in the audience wishing to speak on any general matter with respect to the city of Homestead? Okay, is there anyone online? Very well. I'll close the public comment section of the agenda. I'll bring that to a close. Mr. Manager, are there any additions, deletions, or deferrals?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Council. Tab number 17, car number 4518 is going to be withdrawn.
That's 17?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And also, I understand with respect to, and I don't have the tab number.
8.
Tab number 8, with respect to the franchise agreement, the second reading there, we'll need to defer that for some clarification to the to the March meeting.
To March 19th?
All right, to a date certain, March 19th, just to make sure that we address some last minute issues. So, we need a motion to defer tab 8 and tab 17 to March 19th. Moved by Councilman Ross, seconded by Councilwoman Avila. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, very good. We have as our next item tabs 1A through tab 6, the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Moved by Councilman Davis, seconded by Councilman Cannibal. Are there any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? All right, moving along. Public hearings, ordinances, land use items, etc. Mr. White. Here, it doesn't appear we have any quasi judicial items.
Correct, Mayor. No quasi judicial. So we have one legislative item this evening for consideration. That's a land use item. This is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the comprehensive plan future land use map designation as requested by FVPP LLC of an approximately 0.75 acre parcel of land from medium residential use to light commercial use for property located at 1351 North Chrome Avenue, as identified by Miami-Dade County Folio Number 10-7907-0220130 and legally described in Exhibit A, providing for conflict severability and providing for an effective date. This is second and final reading.
Thank you, sir. As this is a second reading, and this is one of those items that brings the zoning and the comp plan overlay into compliance, is there any objections to waiving the staff report? Any final questions from council? Is there anyone in the public wishing to speak on this matter? Okay, I'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion to approve. Moved by Councilwoman Avila, seconded by Councilman Cannibal. A roll call, please.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilman Cannibal? Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And tab 8 has been deferred. So moving on to tab 9. Mr.
Yes, Mr.
Attorney.
Mayor. Tab 9 is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending Chapter 7 of the City Code entitled Code Enforcement by amending Articles 1, 2, and 3 of the code, changing the term code enforcement to code compliance, clarifying the city's code enforcement procedures and courtesy notices for certain violations, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date.
Very good. And I understand that the only change has been to address the statutory requirement with respect to the red speed system. Is that correct?
So staff has proposed 3 minor changes to Section 7.5. 2 relate to the criteria for special masters. 1 relating to what you had just mentioned, where a retired law enforcement officer would be eligible to serve as a magistrate for the purposes of the school zone enforcement program. There was a proposed amendment to the qualifications for the person with a experience in real estate to have a minimum of 10 years experience in that industry as a licensed realtor. And the final change was to expand the term of special masters in Section 7.5C from 1 year to 2 years. I believe you have versions of these in front of you. So if those are acceptable, a motion to approve with the inclusion
Subject to
of
those
staff's
inclusions.
recommended changes.
Very well. Council, any questions, comments? Councilwoman Bailey.
Thank you, Mayor. I was just curious. I know during our talks that I had asked if it affects any of our current special masters. Did we get an answer on that yet?
Go ahead.
Good evening, Honorable Council, Mayor and Council. Currently, it would not affect our current special magistrates. They are still eligible under the provisions.
Good, thank you. Okay, is that it? All right. So are there any further questions or comments from council regarding this item, tab 9?
Just one.
Yes, Councilman Roth.
Thank you, Mayor. During my one-ons with staff, I just wanted to be kept updated on the number of special masters we have, and when you get down to only 1, we should be notified and we should put a call out to seek others. And also in respect to the qualifications, if this is a hindrance to bringing in qualified, maybe we need to look at this one more time. But I understand we only have 2 special masters at the moment.
That's correct. We have two. I think someone had resigned a few weeks ago. So hopefully we should be aggressive in making sure we have quite a sizable number of people available.
Thank you. That's all.
Very good, thank you. Okay, so let me open the public hearing on this item and ask if there's anyone from the public who would like to speak. Okay, we'll close the public hearing. No one online. And clearly we're going to waive the staff report. I think we had that. So I'll entertain a motion to approve, subject to the changes announced by the city attorney. Moved by Councilman Roth, seconded by Councilwoman Bailey. Let's have a roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilman Cannibal? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Councilman Davis? Yes. Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Mayor Lawson?
Yes.
The motion carried.
And moving right along to tab 10, Mr. Attorney.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Tab 10 is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, establishing educational and professional requirements for city department directors and assistant directors, providing for severability, conflicts, and an effective date.
Hey, thank you. Mr. Manager, if you don't mind, if you'd like to brief us quickly for the record as to the compilation of the requirements, what you drew from, what your experience has been?
So, Mr. Mayor and council members, this ordinance is actually going to standardize the processes of recruitment as well as retention of senior management staff in the city. This is applicable to city directors, city managers, assistant and deputy city managers, assistant directors, as well as senior management that are part of the city's executive management team. To guide this effort, we conducted a survey amongst all the municipalities in Miami-Dade County through the Miami-Dade County City and County Managers Association to assess and establish what are the minimum criteria and minimum requirements, both for educational purposes and as well as professional expertise, that other cities and municipalities have established for their use. The findings reinforce the need for standardization in terms of qualifications that will be reflective of the evolving nature of the municipal governance and the complexities of the local environments. Recognizing the direct impact that executive management has on efficiencies, process improvements, as well as accountability and quality of public services to be rendered as public servants. The ordinance ensures that our own executive leadership is equipped with the necessary skills as well as educational expertise that can uphold operational integrity and also public trust and supports the city's long-term commitment to professionalism. So we're asking council to actually consider this ordinance change. As part of the ordinance, we have identified the applicable positions in the city management level and cadre with all the minimum educational requirements and experience requirements that are consistent with what other cities are currently doing. So we recommend that you consider this and pass it on first reading.
Thank you, Mr. Manager, for that discussion. Any questions or comments from council on this item? Okay. I just want to say that it was as a result of my request that this was brought forward. I mean, over the last nearly 11 months, we've seen a lot of folks come and go, mostly go, that were in their position by virtue of being in the right place at the right time. And although we had great affinity for many of them and were part of our city family, probably shouldn't have been in some of those positions. So, as the manager said, this establishes some guidelines, some consistency, and certainly we have programs that allow our staff to further their education and become qualified and have those succession plans. So I appreciate the work that the manager and the staff did to compile these tables of qualifications and bring them forward. So with that, if there's no further questions or comments, I'd like a motion to approve. Move it. Moved by Councilman Davis. Second by Councilman Cannonball. All right, is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on this? Okay, I'll close the public hearing and ask for a roll call vote.
Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Councilman Roth? Yes. Councilman Davis? Yes. Councilman Cannonball? Yes. Mayor Lawson?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on to tab 11, car number 4534. Mr. Pearl?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Tab 11 is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, amending Chapter 2, Article 3 of the City Code titled Boards, Committees, Commissions to include Division 12 titled Affordable Housing Advisory Committee pursuant to Section 420.9076 Florida statutes, codifying the committee's functions, powers, duties, composition, appointment qualifications, and requirements for membership, providing for officers, meetings, quorum, legal support, and public notice, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, sir. I know we've all been briefed. Is there any objections to waiving the staff report? This is something that statutorily, that if we are going to pursue any monies, we need to have in place. And I know we'll talk more in depth about leadership at the CRA, and perhaps with some of the properties we have acquired, this will help us move forward and obtain funding on our own or on behalf of others to build out those projects. So let me open the public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience or online wishing to speak on this matter? Okay, hearing none, I'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion to approve. Moved by Councilwoman Bailey, second by Councilman Cannonball. Let's have a roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Councilman Cannonball? Yes. Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilman Roth? Yes. Councilman Davis? Yes. Mayor Lawson?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Next is car number 4511, Parks and Roadway Trust Fund. Mr. Pearl?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Tab 12 is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City of Homestead Code of Ordinances by creating Division 6 Parks and Roadway Trust Fund of Article 9 Finance of Chapter 2 Administration of the City Code in order to provide for a dedicated funding mechanism for the development and improvement of city parks and roadways, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date.
Good, thank you. Any objections to waiving the staff report? All right. Side is moved by Councilwoman Avila, seconded by Councilman Cannonball. Let me open the public hearing very quickly. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this matter? Hey, I'll close the public hearing. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, sir. Come on down to the podium and give us your name and address for the record, and we'll limit your comments to 3 minutes in duration.
Hello, everybody. My name is Moro. I live on 901 Adams Terrace, Homestead, Florida, 33034. For this kinds of things, does the people of the city have like a say-so on how the money is distributed to like build better infrastructure for the community, or is it something that's like decided here for like how this money is spent?
Well, both. It's decided here with public input.
Okay.
I mean, this fund could ultimately have several $1 million in it. Certainly, we have a vision to rebuild a Homestead Regional Park on the 100-plus acres that we own where the former stadium was located. Certainly a lot of roadway. This is an item that I brought forward. My thought was it does a couple of things. It builds trust. This trust fund builds trust with the public, that as we are paid for capital assets, we're going to continue to use that money for capital needs rather than recurring costs. This money can also be used to help us leverage and match grants. Sometimes grants are 2 for 1, so conceivably we could turn $5 million, for example, into $15 million to do park or roadway improvements. So, you know, the distribution of this money each time will come back to this council and be publicly noticed
Oh, so the city will have access to view how this money's spent as well? Or is it something that's like private?
No, this is public money. These will be for public, limited to parks and roadways within the city of Homestead.
And how would one just find how this money's being spent as far as like where this money's going, how much is being spent, and all these kinds of things?
Well, again, each time money is going to be allocated, and right now it's a dry trust fund, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Monies will come in, and it will require each project will require a council vote. Those actions obviously are published. There's an opportunity to come here and weigh in. And as an aside, the city is now in the beginning process of establishing a long-term strategic or master plan
Yeah,
for
the
the
5-year
city,
plan I seen.
which, I'm sure implicit in that will be a lot of public input and will include major parks work. So from the very beginning, the public is going to have an opportunity to be involved
Okay,
and
great.
throughout the process.
All right, sounds great. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thanks for your question. Thanks for paying attention. Appreciate it. Okay. Is that anyone else? Anyone online? Nope. So let's close the public hearing, and I think we have a motion and a second on the table, so let's have a roll call vote.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilman Davis? Yes. Councilman Cannonball? Yes. Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
I want to thank council. I mean, I tried to bring a similar item early in my tenure, probably in 2020, with an entirely different council that really didn't want any part of it. But we're in a different place now in terms of the vision and collegiality of the elected body and the professionalism of our staff from top to bottom. So I think it's a big step forward to building trust and confidence, and I kind of view this as a companion item to our bond discussion later on the agenda. And speaking of that, that's the next item. Tab 14.
We still have to do 13. We have 13. We can flip them if you'd
Oh,
like. but-
sorry, I flipped the page too early. Okay. Don't skip the artwork, no. These guys in the audience are going, whoa, wait a minute. Okay, tab 13, car number 4468, Mr. Pearl.
Yes, Mayor. Tab 13 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting installation of public art requested by Berkowitz Development Group, Inc. as part of the Homestead Commerce Park located south of Southeast 8th Street, north of Alex Muxo Jr. Boulevard, west of Park of Commerce Boulevard, and east of Southwest 152nd Avenue as legally described in Exhibit A, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, thank you. And this, I think, was a tweak to, well, we did the tweak. Okay, I think we can waive the staff report. Is there any objection to waiving the staff report? Let's get a motion on the table. You're not going to let Councilwoman Bailey, no, moved by Councilwoman Bailey, seconded by Councilwoman Avila.
Mayor?
Yes.
Yes, before you take a vote on this item, there's one condition that we would like to place. There's a resolution approving this, but there's a condition that we'd like to add, and I can read that.
Please do.
That condition is pursuant to City Code Section 3237, the applicant shall provide the city a licensing agreement subject to approval by the city attorney prior to issuance of a building permit for installation of the public art. If you recall, back in October of last year, we modified the public art ordinance to make it clear that there was a distinction between art that was donated to the city versus art that was placed on private property. And really it deals with the intellectual property rights. And for art that's placed on the property, we get a limited license agreement whereby we can use the image for purposes of promoting the city's public art program. But the artist retains the copyrights to it.
Go ahead.
So I'm just curious, since this is obviously a well-known artist in the area, how does that work? Do you require an additional something from Brito?
Yeah, it would just be it's specified, the language is specified in the code amendment that we did. So it's a limited license agreement that would give us the ability to utilize that image for a very limited purpose.
Right, but I'm sure that the person who's building the actual car and the artist are going to be two separate people. So I'm just curious, when you're asking for that licensing for the image, are you asking for the person who is designing the car as well as painting the car?
So in this case, it would likely be the artist, but I know that the artist has a different entity as well. And so when we drafted the language, I drafted the language to be very broad, where it talks about the applicant, the assigns, or a company that may be associated, whatever may be applicable. So it leaves open the ability for us to look at any of those circumstances that may be applicable when we get this license agreement. And so we'll have to work with the applicant and the artist on what that entity will be, right? Because the artist and the property owner have their own agreement
Right.
with respect, and we're not going to get involved in that. But what we're concerned about is just that we'll be able to promote, as part of our public art system, that particular piece of art.
Yeah, okay. No, thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Any further, council? Okay, do we have a motion? Yeah, we do. We have a motion, subject to the comments by Mr. White. So is there anyone here wishing to speak on this matter? I don't think so. So we'll close the public hearing, and I'll ask for a roll call vote for approval.
Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilman Cannavale? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Councilman Davis? Yes. Councilman Roth? Yes. Mayor Lawson?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And as an aside, Councilman Roth and Councilman Cannavale and the manager and I had the pleasure of attending the groundbreaking last week for this project. And we had one heck of an air show that just was coincidentally going on as we were out there. But the point is this is part of a 280,000 square foot industrial project situated on 20 acres in the Park of Commerce that is exactly what was envisioned 3 decades ago, and it's finally happening. And I want to express my thanks and appreciation to everyone on staff and the investors and builders who are bringing this to fruition. Thank you. All right. Car number 4514, Tab 14, Mr. Pearl.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Tab 14 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, directing city staff to take the actions necessary to initiate the process of issuing a general obligation bond to finance improvements to city parks and infrastructure, including requesting that the Miami-Dade County Supervisor of Elections hold a special election to run concurrently with the city's regularly scheduled election on November 4th, 2025, to seek voter approval for the issuance of said bond, providing for implementation and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. And this is too big and too important to gloss over the staff report. So, Mr. Manager, for the public.
So this is one of those once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the city to carve a niche and carve a pathway to success in terms of infrastructure improvements in order to take us to the next century. The proposed resolution is simply to direct myself and staff to take all necessary actions to initiate the process for issuing a GEO bond. And this bond is essentially to finance improvements of city parks and city infrastructure. And we are going to work with the City Attorney's Office to identify the respective bond counsel, the disclosure counsel, as well as the bond transaction financial advisor, as well as perhaps the underwriter that will guide us through the process of issuing the bond. We've established a timeline, hoping that we'll make it on or before June, which gives us enough time, at least 75 days before the actual referendum on November 4th, 2025. We're very lucky that City Attorney Wise Seroda has in-house suitably qualified and experienced personnel that is going to guide this process. So we don't look forward to hiring anybody at this stage. All is in-house for now. And of course, we have a bond financial advisor, which is PFM, that is also on contract with the city. So we are ready to roll. And we've already established, like I said earlier, a timeline to get this done. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Council, questions, comments? Okay, it's been moved by Councilwoman Avila, seconded by Councilman Cannabal. Let's open this item for public comment. Is there anyone online? Anyone in the audience? Okay, so I'll close the public hearing then. We have a motion and a second, and I'll ask for a roll call vote.
Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilman Davis? Yes. Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilman Cannabal?
Yes.
Mayor Lawson?
Yes,
The motion carries.
thank you all. That's a third of three really big deal items that we have moved forward tonight. That's what's called progress. Okay. Tab 15, car number 4523. Mr. Pearl?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, tab 15 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving and creating the Local Affordable Housing Assistance Trust Fund account, establishing the Local Housing Assistance Program, designating the Community Development and Human Services Division of the administrator of the program as the administrator of the program, providing for implementation and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Are we okay waiving the staff report on this one? Okay, no objection there. Okay, do we have any questions from council? Let's get a motion on the floor and we'll have public comment. A motion? Moved by Councilman Cannabal. Seconded by Councilman Davis. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this matter? Do we have anyone online? And no one in the audience, so let's have a roll call vote.
Councilman Davis? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilman Cannabal? Yes. Councilman Roth? Yes. Mayor Lawson?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And moving on to tab 16, car number 4519, Mr. Pearl.
Yes, tab 16 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, authorizing the city manager to award invitation to bid number 2025-07 for Ernstine Jackson Seymour Park Playground replacement to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, Linear Plans, Inc., doing business as Karat, and providing for an effective date.
Good, thank you. Waive staff report? No objections? Okay. Any questions from council? Yes, Councilwoman Avila.
Thank you, Mayor. I see in the car, it references up to 28 weeks to receive the equipment, and then installation another 3 to 4 months. Is there any way to expedite that so that we can get the park in sooner than later? Or what can we, and here I am about to also ask if we can add some shade sales, so, you know.
It's only another $250,000. Get the bond.
So we would have to reach out to the manufacturer once we're able to contact them. It's still in a cone of silence with the ITB, and we'll be able to get a better lead time. That's just what they submitted with during the ITB, and it's 3 to 4 weeks for installation, not 3 to 4 months.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. No, that was a misread on my part. And then I did want to consider, I know that in the renderings it shows a lot of trees and shade, but I don't think that that's necessarily the case. Is in order to add some shade, whether it's a sail or it is trees, is that something we can do after this gets approved and gets installed, or does it have to be simultaneous to the project?
Yeah, we can explore adding that additional.
Okay, great. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So I guess I may have to come in here. I think we need to be cognizant of the fact that this is a small size park. So whatever we are adding means that we may have to take something out. It's a pocket park. It's only 29 feet wide.
I'm familiar with the site, and it's because it's between housing and
Yeah.
whatnot. I would just like to make sure there's some shade because I don't believe there's trees on the lot.
Okay.
Take a look at that. Thank you. Okay, any further questions? Did we have a motion on this one? Moved by Councilwoman Avila. Second by Councilwoman Bailey. Is there anyone wishing to make a comment? Any public comments? Now I'll close the public hearing and ask for a roll call vote.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Councilman Cannabal? Yes. Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilman Davis. Yes. Mayor Lawson.
Yes.
The motion carried.
Tab 17 was deferred, so we'll move on to tab 18, car number 4528. Mr. Pearl?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Tab 18 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, accepting the proposal and approving work authorization between the city and Bermilo and Jamil and Partners pursuant to RFQ 2015-02, Architectural and Engineering Services, for bidding and construction administration services for the city's code compliance building, providing for implementation and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Any objection to waiving the staff report? All right, any questions from council? We have a motion to approve. Moved by Councilwoman Bailey, second by Councilwoman Avila. I'll now open the public hearing. Do we have anyone online or in the audience wishing to speak on this matter? So I'll close the public hearing and ask for a roll call vote on tab 18.
Councilwoman Bailey. Yes. Councilwoman Avila. Yes. Councilman Roth. Yes. Councilman Davis. Yes. Councilman Cannavale. Yes. Mayor Lawson.
Yes.
The motion carries.
And moving on to car number 4537, radio infrastructure battery replacement, tab 19. Mr. Pearl?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Tab 19 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving the purchase of uninterrupted power supply batteries, exempting the purchase from competitive bidding in accordance with Section 2-411.1A5 of the City Code, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Any objections to waiving the staff report on this item? Okay, any questions or comments from council? Let's get a motion on the table on tab 19. Moved by Councilman Roth. Second by Councilman Davis. Let's open this up to public comment, public hearing. Is there anyone online? No one in the audience on this matter, so we'll close the public hearing and ask for a roll call vote to approve tab 19.
Councilwoman Avila. Yes. Councilman Roth. Yes. Councilwoman Bailey. Yes. Councilman Cannavale. Yes. Councilman Davis. Yes. Mayor Lawson.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Very good, thank you. Moving on, Mr. Manager, any further business?
Just a couple of updates. Earlier this evening, I had sent out a manager's memo to the council and to mayor, and I'm happy to announce what I mentioned in the memo, that Ms. Kimar Brown has been redesignated as the deputy city manager of the city of Homestead, and she continued to extend her exceptional leadership to all the assignments I've given her, which she has done well since she had joined the city about 10 months ago. Ms. Kimar Brown, well done, and congratulations.
Amen.
I'm also happy to announce the appointment of Mr. Jared Beck. Mr. Jared, can you want to stand up? As the city's new Community Redevelopment Agency, CRA Director. The memo actually explained his professional background. Mr. Beck is a certified planner, licensed, and also a Florida redevelopment professional with over 20 years of experience in diverse areas. And we're happy that Mr. Jarrett is joining us, and hopefully we'll see new developments, new master planning efforts in terms of making sure that we work together with development services to take it to the finish line, as well as work harmoniously and constructively with council and mayor on the initiatives that we have for the city. Welcome on board, Mr. Beck. And also, I think you may have received a memo from the administration that we plan to start the strategic planning sessions soon, asking for your permission as well as your availability for dates that had been mentioned. If you could please help us by responding on so that we can coordinate calendars to make it more meaningful. And I'm happy to announce that we launched the new agenda management platform, which is a software system for agenda management. The city clerk is able to work remotely and seamlessly with all city departments to put together the agenda book. And for the first time, we're able to publish this agenda on time, 1 week ahead of council meetings, which gives everybody the time and opportunity to look through them. And moving forward, the next month, we should be able to announce a date certain for the Old City Hall workshop, as council has requested. Currently, we're engaged with the land surveyors to put together a plating document in order to carve out the 3 parcels that we talked about in the last council meeting. And we should be able to hold that workshop soon so that we can fine tune and agree on development intent and some of the exceptions and entitlements that were pertaining to it. Thank you, sir and ladies.
Thank you. Appreciate everything that has transpired during this week. Mr. Attorney, anything new? No request. Very good. Councilwoman Avila? Good, thank you. Councilwoman Bailey?
Yes, Mayor, just a couple quick things. So February is Black History Month. I wanted to thank staff. I love the little tidbits of history. I think that's one part that a lot of people just forget. You know, it's the whole point is to educate. I'm proud that my 6-year-old did his first oral report for Black History. He did it on Ruby Bridges. It was the cutest thing ever because he kept calling it the Supreme Council instead of the Supreme Court, which I'm sure had something to do with us up here. But basically, he's like, so there was a battle between Brown and the Board of Education. And, you know, just as long as we continue to especially teach our youth some of the terrible decisions that have been made in the past and that we make sure that we keep going in the right direction. Wanted to thank staff for that, as well as the Poetry Slam that we have planned at the Seminole Theater this Friday. We had a really nice day with everyone, making the Southwest neighborhood beautiful. So thank you to everybody that came out for that. And I was a little breathless when I saw that we had lost one of our headliners for the big event, and then to see that we got the Whalers. Super duper. I think it is going to be even better than last year. So thank you all for your hard work. I know that it was a lot to put it all together. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Cannonball? You good? Very good. Councilman Roth?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to say thank you to Zuri and his staff. There's an epidemic, and those of you that drive around the city every day see it, and it's these yard signs and signs are just everywhere again. And Zuri and staff has responded immediately to the ones that I send in to them. And I just want to say I appreciate that, and it's an ongoing battle to just get those unsightly signs off of the properties and the right-of-ways throughout the city. I don't know that there's anything we can do to the offenders. Some of those numbers are similarly pretty much anonymous, and they don't even go anywhere except to a sourcing or an agency that locates, contractors to do the work that they're advertising. So, I just ask that you be diligent. For those of you that are in the public that see them out there, report them to us. I'm not sure if the app Fix-It Homestead is working or somebody's monitoring that. I did have somebody call me in reference to some work that needed to be done on one of the streetlights, and they got no response to that, but we took care of the streetlight for them. And for Barbara, thank you for that as well. Just tell us if there's problems out there, and we'll address them. And the city staff and city manager have been excellent at responding to all the requests. I just wanted to say thank you for that. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. I think it's a war of attrition. Those signs aren't cheap, and sooner or later, they'll quit spending money if we keep picking them up. I'm disgusted by, and I see the same signs in Homestead that you see in Kendall, that those folks are paying people to spread out through our community and spread that garbage. Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
I wanted, thank you, Mayor. I wanted to just share that a couple weeks ago, I had a ride along with our commissioner's office, Commissioner Cohen-Higgins is a representative, and we identified several items of concern within our city limits and within the surrounding area of Homestead. It's just as important to keep our border under control, no pun intended, because those areas, they think it's part of the city limits, and it's really not. But I wanted to just share that we have some pothole inspections going on in the northeast side of town. We have damage near the roundabout on Northeast 15th Street that they're going to look into. They did some inspections for illegal dumping and some homeless encampments along our areas, as well as illegal dumping around Avocado, and specifically on Campbell Drive within my district. there are many roadway signs that are missing completely from different accidents over the years and not being replaced. So that ride along did get conducted, and I want to thank our city manager for joining us on that ride and assisting us with keeping tabs on these ongoing items for our attention. And then I'll be doing a similar ride along with Commissioner McGee's office in his district where it overlaps with the city and of course the surrounding areas. So I wanted to invite you to send any areas of concern my way, and I'll be happy to make a pit stop. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to say that, Kamar, I'm in that cheering group. Congratulations. I mean, I've only sent you about 200 things in the city that, would you please look into this? Would you please look into that? And you took care of every one, and I very much appreciate it. So, okay, I won't send you anything for like 2 days and give you a break, but they'll be coming. But thank you very much for all you do, and it's very well deserved.
Thank you, Councilman. Our best wishes to Vice Mayor Fletcher and his family. We hope he's able to join us in the coming weeks. We miss you here tonight. So there are 2 vacancies on the Homestead Housing Authority Board that we need to fill. So if we could publish that, and if you have an interest, please send in your resume and a letter of interest to the city clerk. She'll circulate it to me, and we also have that ongoing vacancy limited to a Homestead resident on the Police Pension Board. I want to remind everybody that coming up March 1st and 2nd is the 7th annual Rotary Club of Homestead Charitable Foundation Seafood Festival at the site of the former sports complex. Last year we had about 12,000 folks over the weekend. That event has enabled the foundation to fund nearly $500,000 in college scholarships just in the last few years. It's bigger and better every year in terms of food, in terms of music, bigger and better all the time. And I would encourage everyone to take part in that both Saturday and Sunday, March 1st and 2nd. And again, I just want to reflect on what we accomplished tonight in 45 minutes is really an earthquake, earth-shattering, earth-moving with the things that we have with very little or no dissension. We're in accord on to move forward, to lay the foundation for the future of the community. I mean, there are things that we'll do that are for the here and now, but this council is going to be known as the one who laid the groundwork and the foundation for those who come after us. And I want to thank all of you all for coming on this ride, and again to the management and staff. And finally, I had the real pleasure of spending about 45 minutes this afternoon with the new CRA director. I don't mean this in a bad way. Look forward to having you at the table and under the gun, and I look forward to real progress in that area as well. Thank you. So with that, we have a motion to adjourn. Second, all in favor? Aye. Thank you all. Good night. Meeting adjourned.